Let's all be seated. Distinguished guest of honor, Commissioner of Education, Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Liambwene Mtahaba, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Anangisye, Principal of the College of Humanity, Dr. Rose Upor, UNESCO representative, Mr. Tristan De Santos. We also have Conrad Adenauer Stifton representative, Dr. Thomas Feltes. We also have key speakers of the day from Germany, from the US, from Tanzania. We also have among us the Ambassador of Japan. Welcome. We also have deans, principals, and director of the University of Dar es Salaam, academic members of staff, students, journalists. Welcome to the World Philosophy Day. Today, through this symposium, we will debate, we will discuss a lot of things that have a connection, a link to who we are as human beings, but more specifically, what kind of a world do we want to make? Philosophy is a Greek word meaning the love of wisdom. Therefore, the love of truth, the love of justice, the love of value, human value. So today, we'll be dealing with the values that we want to have in this world so that we can make it a more peaceful world. The World Philosophy Day was established in 2002 by UNESCO, and among of the objective of UNESCO was basically to renew the national, regional, and international commitment to philosophy, to foster philosophical analysis, research, and deal with the major contemporary issue so that we can deal with the challenges that we face today. But it was also to raise awareness of the importance of philosophy and to also appraise the status of philosophy teaching throughout the world. So today, as we stand here, this day encourages for us as academic exchange to highlight what is the contribution of philosophy, but more so, how are we going to be dealing with the challenges that we face? So I welcome you to this discussion. It's a very valuable discussion that we will hear from our speaker and our representative. With those few words said, I would like to welcome the representative from UNESCO, Mr. Tristan De Santos, to give his remark. Karibu. Okay. I'm sure he's on his way. I hope we have a representative from Conrad, Mr. Tilman Feltes. Please come and give your remark.
Chief Guest of Honor, Dr. Liambwene Mtahaba, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, lecturers, participants, guests, and all the invitees. I'm standing here on behalf of Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, representing the country residence representative, Dr. Tilman Feltes. My names are Damas Nderumaki, and I'm project manager and representative. So, as I'm saying, I'm standing here in this World Philosophy Day to represent my country director. And when I was told to come here on his behalf and the office, then I translated what I was told to represent into Swahili. Because if he was here, he would make his speech in English. But now, the guest of honor, allow me to use Swahili. Awali ya yote ni wasalimu kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Napenda kwanza kumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kutuwezesha kushiriki katika kongamano hili muhimu sana siku ya leo. Aidha, nachukua nafasi hii kwa niaba ya taasisi ninayoiwakilisha iitwayo Konrad Adenauer Stiftung, kwa kifupi KAS, kwa niaba ya mkurugenzi kama nilivyosema Dr. Tilman Feltes, ambaye alipenda sana kuja kwenye sherehe hizi, lakini kwa majukumu mengine hakuweza kuwepo. Ndugu mgeni rasmi, na kushukuru wewe binafsi kwa kutupa heshima ya kuja na kuadhimisha sherehe hii ya kuadhimisha siku ya falsafa duniani. Vile vile kasi na washukuru wote mliojumuika hapa kuadhimisha siku hii. Ni matumaini yetu kwamba tutatumia maadhimisho haya kuweza kuimarisha mashirikiano baina yetu kama taifa, kuenzi fikra chanya katika kuleta maendeleo ya watu na maendeleo ya taifa letu kwa ujumla. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi na washiriki, Konrad Adenauer Stiftung ni shirika lisilo la kiserikali lililosajiliwa kisheria hapa nchini, likiwa na makao makuu nchini Ujerumani. Na moja ya shughuli zetu ni kuhimiza mijadala mbalimbali inayohusu uchambuzi wa masuala ya kijamii, siasa na kiuchumi. KASI pia inaamini kuwa ubunifu na umahiri wa ubinadamu unategemea sana falsafa inayoruhusu kuhoji, pia kutenda na kuakisi fikira chanya ambazo haziathiri kwa maana yote ile tunu ya mitazamo ya taifa letu la Tanzania. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, kwa muda mrefu tumekuwa tukifadhili mafunzo na makongamano yanayohusu amani na kuzuia migogoro kwa makundi mbalimbali ya wananchi kupitia taasisi za kijamii na za kidini, ikiwa ni pamoja na kuhimiza umuhimu wa kujistawisha kielimu na kiuchumi. Na hii ndio sababu kubwa ya kujenga mahusiano na taasisi ya kielimu kama Chuo Kikuu cha Dar es Salaam kwa kushiriki kwenye makongamano kama haya, lakini pia tunashiriki kwa kuhakikisha kwamba baadhi ya vijana wanapata scholarship kwa ajili ya kujiendeleza zaidi na kulijenga taifa letu. KASI tumekuwa tukiamini kuwa maendeleo ya nchi yanaletwa na wananchi wenyewe. Hivyo basi ni budi kuzingatia kuwa mifumo yetu ya elimu ijikite katika kutekeleza nguvu zaidi katika kustawisha fikra chanya, ili mtu na watu wote waweze kupambana na changamoto zinazoikabili taifa na mtu na watu binafsi. Programu zetu zinazingatia ushirikishwaji na zinaibua mijadala ambayo ndani yake inaleta majibu ya changamoto mbalimbali tunazokabiliana nazo. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, KASI inatambua pia kuwa mahitaji ya ulimwengu yamekuwa yakibadilika sambamba na teknolojia. Hivyo tunatambua kuwa uchambuzi wa kina na mabishano ya mifumo ni muhimu, kwani nchi yetu na bara zima la Afrika katika kukabiliana changamoto mtambuka kwenye masuala yanayohusu utandawazi, utamaduni, mazingira na hasa kisiasa. Hivyo ni muhimu kuwa na suluhisho la pamoja, na siku ya leo tunaamini italeta mawazo pamoja tunakuwa na mitazamo tofauti, lakini kwa pamoja ndiyo huwa inajenga. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, kwa hayo machache nipende tu kuutakia mkutano huu kila laheri, kila lilo jema, tujadiliane kwa furaha lakini kwa kujengana na wadau wote ambao tunaamini maendeleo ya taifa letu tutaweza kuyaleta kwa pamoja. Kwa hayo machache, nashukuruni kwa kunisikiliza.
Asante sana Damas Ndelumaki. Kama alivyosema, shirika linajikita katika kuleta mijadala yenye kuhoji na mwisho wa siku kupata ufafanuzi wa hilo jambo. Napenda pia kumjulisha Chuo Kikuu cha Dar es Salaam, hiyo ndio kazi yake kubwa, kutafakari, kuhoji na kuweza kuleta suluhisho katika changamoto zinazotokea hapa nchini, lakini duniani kote. Lakini vile vile hapa tuna wanafunzi, nadhani tumesikia kwamba wanatoa scholarship. Kwa hiyo nadhani waliopo hapa wataweza kuichukua hiyo nafasi ili waweze kujiendeleza na kuja mwisho wa siku kuiendeleza Tanzania. Kwa hayo machache, naomba sasa hivi nimkaribishe Vice Chancellor Yes, I've been corrected. I was rushing. I forgot my principal. She's my principal. Therefore, I would like to request my principal of College of Humanity, Dr. Rose Upor, to come and give her remarks.
I was thinking on holding on her promotion. Guests of honor, I would like first of all to recognize the presence of the Commissioner for Social Welfare, Dr. Nandera Mhando. Mine is to give quick remarks, welcome remarks, but also we have our viewers online on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So I'll also be able to address them with your permission, guest of honor. Distinguished guest of honor, Commissioner for Education, Dr. Liabwene Mtahabwa, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Anangisye, Acting Head of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, Dr. Thomas Ndaluka, our keynote speakers who will be presenting today, representatives of UNESCO, and also our general sponsors, the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung representative, Mr. Nderumaki, distinguished guest presenters, good morning to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all the distinguished guests and proclaimed researchers, presenters, students and staff of the University of Dar es Salaam and who have come to attend the World Philosophy Day celebrations that are hosted by the Department of Philosophy. On behalf of the College of Humanities, allow me to register my appreciation to the guest of honor, Dr. Liabwene Mtahabwa, the Commissioner for Education, for leaving all others and choosing to be with us today. We are honored by your gracious presence here at your alma mater, the University of Dar es Salaam. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the organizing committee that was led by the acting head, Dr. Thomas Ndaluka, for the hard work they put into making this event possible. I know they're all spread out in this particular venue. Can you all stand up and wave so that we'll be able to clap and appreciate you for your hard work? Ladies and gentlemen, Let me welcome those who have traveled long distances to be with us. I'm humbled that you all chose to be with us here this morning to partake in this significant event in the history of the College of Humanities and the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies. It is our expectation that you'll find your stay both fruitful and pleasurable, and I hope that you'll also be able to set time aside of your busy schedule to explore the University of Dar es Salaam Mwalimu Julius Nyerere campus. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special opportunity for the College of Humanities and for the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies to demonstrate publicly the role of professional academic philosophy in pursuing the mission and vision of our institution, but also that of the nation at large. As one of the youngest departments of the college in the University of Dar es Salaam, it's opening its doors as an independent unit at the College of Humanities only in 2013. This particular department today is joining all its cohorts all over the world to mark this auspicious occasion. So can we all applaud for the Department of Philosophy? The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, that's UNESCO, launched the first World Philosophy Day on the 21st November 2002 to promote awareness of philosophy as the root of the United Nations declarations and covenants in the world history of ideas, thereby celebrating the UN's pursuit of global justice, equity, and recognition of human dignity. The hope was to expand participation in this academic discipline as the centerpiece of human understanding and the global family's knowledge canon, and to also encourage participation of every society in the age-old practice of applying general principles and commitment to problem solving and policy. In 2005, the UN General Conference proclaimed the event would be sustained annually and to be held on the third Thursday of every November. For the first time this year, we have now been able to hold it actually on the third Thursday of this November. And I am so proud for all the efforts that have been put to make sure this is possible. As this event grows in popularity internationally, UNESCO's major objectives continue to inspire more involvement every year. For example, to expose the general public to philosophy as a rigorous intellectual exercise that makes practical contributions to societies, influencing processes and activities all over the 7 continents. 2, to appraise the curricula and the pedagogy of philosophy in primary, secondary, and tertiary education. 3, to emphasize especially the need to correct iniquities in access to formal philosophical training and to promote inclusion of marginalized groups in the application of philosophical voices worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've said, in navigating the direction and growth of the College of Humanities since our inception in 2013, we believe that the strength of our unit, that is the Department of Philosophy in this university, is premised on the strength of philosophy as a discipline of teaching and research. When you have a strong philosophy department, then you're able to give direction, substance, and self-reflective power, self-improvement capacity to all other departments. I remember at one conference, a lady spoke, and it really touched me, and I've kept on saying this to the members of the College of Humanities, is that you are as strong as your Department of Philosophy. So when you strengthen the Department of Philosophy, you strengthen also other departments. And I'm proud that the Department of Philosophy, even though it is the youngest department in the College of Humanities, it is doing great things, and as you can see in front of us here today. But in addition to philosophy, the college also believes that scientific study of religion is crucial to our growth. And we are very pleased to have with us today one of our keynote speakers, a widely respected speaker from Germany who is an expert in religious studies. At the department, we have been able to establish PhD by thesis programs in both religious studies and in comparative religion. Both programs are hosted by the department, but these particular degrees can be pursued by a wide range of applicants with master's degrees from different disciplines in the humanities and social sciences. Other postgraduate programs that we have is like the most popular one, a master's degree in ethics of governance and public service. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Philosophy Day is designed by UNESCO to outdoor the potentials worldwide of departments of philosophy, and our department here is no exception. With the available experience and expertise, the department will soon host a BA program in African Studies, and if approved, will also have a BA and an MA in Religious Studies, will have an MA in Philosophy, and we hope that will also have a documentary center dedicated to the identification and preservation of indigenous philosophical and religious knowledge. The pockets of oral knowledge inheritance in Tanzania are either already extinct or they're in danger of disappearing. So it is the task of philosophers to recognize, interpret, and to preserve such knowledge for the development of Africa today and for posterity. The department already supplies a wide range of students in various subjects with the basic knowledge of critical thinking and practical reasoning. These provide educated citizens the protection from political manipulation and religious authoritarianism, so badly needed today. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, allow me to reiterate my gratitude to the organizing committee, both from outside and inside the university, for putting together this event. Thank you to all of us who are present here for being with us for the conference, and we hope that you'll have time to tour our beautiful campus. But if it were up to me, I would suggest that we meet here again next year. Once again, I wish you an enjoyable and productive conference. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, my principal. And as she has reiterated, please, for those who have come from afar, please take this time to tour the university with all its campuses. And again, as she says, may we meet again here next year. Thank you very much for that. I would like to inform you that we live in a technological world, and I would like to go back. We have a remark from the UNESCO on Zoom. They've just informed us they were representing De Santos. The person representing De Santos, his name is Hugo Nganju. He will be giving his remark by Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Representative from UNESCO, you're on.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Karibu.
Asante. So, distinguished guests of honor, the Commissioner for Education, Professor William Amengesi, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Dr. Rose Upor, Principal of the College of Humanities at the University of Dar es Salaam.
Can you kindly turn on your video so we can see you?
Let me try.
Okay, thank you. There.
I think.
Yes, we can see
Yeah,
you now.
Yeah, my camera is certainly not the best for this exercise, but I hope the sound is audible.
Yes, the sound is audible, so if you can't, let's just continue with the audio. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So let me also acknowledge the different ambassadors and members of the diplomatic corps present at the venue. Dear friends of philosophy and humanities, all protocol duly observed. I wish to start with a very good morning from Nairobi, Kenya. Karibuni sana to all. I am Mr. Ngando Ngata Hug. I'm the head of the Social and Human Science sector at the UNESCO Regional Office for Eastern Africa. We are based in Nairobi, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity to provide few remarks for this occasion on behalf of Mr. Tirso dos Santos, who is unavoidably absent due to the General Conference of the organization holding right now in Paris. The World Philosophy Day at UNESCO has been celebrated ever since 2002 on the third Thursday of November, both at headquarters and in the field. And we are contributing today to maintain this tradition. This celebration thus enables UNESCO to fulfill its role as catalyst of ideas and a forum for encounters and reflection, while upgrading alongside the other human and social sciences the questioning and critical function of the discipline of philosophy. Distinguished participant, allow me to jump a bit because Dr. Rose Upo already elaborated a lot about the objective of this celebration, and I will not bother you in repeating all these elements. Just to highlight that this objective fully legitimates the choice of the theme of the event that gathers us today, philosophy in Tanzania, reaching to the core of political and socio-economic concerns. Allow me to pause of the humanities to question every dimension of human life. UNESCO has always been closely linked to philosophy, which is defined as a school of freedom. Through critical questioning, philosophy gives meaning to life and action in international, regional, and national context. As you may be aware, the link between philosophy and UNESCO stems from the inquiry on the possibility of a necessary condition for the establishment of long-term peace and security in the world. This is also the ultimate goal of the philosophical dialogue we are having today through the lanterns of the College of Humanities of the University of Dar es Salaam. The agenda of the day really convokes the intellectual work of the philosopher in dialogue with other humanity disciplines and social sciences to contribute to institutional responses to the challenges of social transformation, reflecting the pluralism of issues attracted by our main theme, from a critical thinking of what could be an ethical relevant concept of democracy to theorizing social justice from a religious perspective to addressing Tanzanian women economic justice and right prospects, or more importantly, to questioning and, I believe, making also a self-criticism of the place of philosophy in Tanzanian intellectual foundation, just to mention a few. The event will also honor the winners of the essay competition organized ahead of this day's celebration, and allow me here to congratulate all the participants in this process, and more especially the winner that will be acknowledged in a dedicated session during this agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, let me at this juncture echo more the importance of this conference taking place few months after the first edition of the Africa Humanity Forums that was held in Bamako, Mali, in end of September 2021, with the ambition to revamp the humanities and philosophy and their importance to deal not only with the traditional legacy delivered from the past culture and time, but also with the challenges Africa is currently facing, from the plurality of identity and language to migration issues, environmental challenges, critical thinking and theories, action and policies for development, political, economic, and social governance, just to mention a few. UNESCO really values its collaboration with the University of Dar es Salaam, which concretize some of the recommendations from this forum. From the organization of this event to many more other concrete engagement in progress to benefit from the intellectual insight and guidance of this noble academic institution that contributes to the mandate of our organization. I can mention here the ongoing assessment on the National Youth Policy of Tanzania, or the development in progress of pilot modules for enhancing the teaching of bioethics and ethics of science and technology at university level. All of this is being done in collaboration with the University of Dar es Salaam. And I believe the integration of the UNESCO General History of Africa could certainly be another important area worth exploring for future collaboration, as we look forward to strengthening the foundation of humanities and social sciences for the development of sustainable and peaceful societies in Africa. In ending, allow me, in the spirit of this World Philosophy Day, to quote Mrs. Audrey Azoulay, this is the Director General of UNESCO, in her 2021 message on the occasion of this global celebration, when she says, UNESCO works daily to bring philosophy, that universal language of thought, into service in order to identify all the ramifications of the crisis and to clear a common path for humanity. It is indeed necessary to open up new horizons to enlighten reflection and public action in all the regions of the world. Philosophy, and more broadly, the humanities, can and must help us to do this. Let us therefore take the opportunity afforded by the World Philosophy Day to take a necessary step back and, through philosophical practice, put into perspective the win-win of events so that we can consider how to rebuild a juster and more dignified world. End of quote. In this, with this word, I want to wish you a wonderful World Philosophy Day and Asante Nisana to all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Nadal, for that insightful remark. And what I've come out of that when you said School of Freedom, and I thought, wow, that's a very, very insightful way of looking at it, because without freedom, nothing moves. Therefore, in order to be free, we have to interrogate, we have to question, we have to analyze the injustice that are happening in our world. Thank you very much. And I also would like to thank you for reminding us that Nandera was very instrumental in terms of preparing this symposium. Please, Nandera, can you stand up? Thank you very much. It was only yesterday when I learned that you are not here with us. So thank you for coming back. Thank you. We are continuing, and at this particular moment, I would like to invite the Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Anangisi, to give his remark, and then to welcome the guest of honor. Karibu sana.
Our guest of honor, Commissioner for Education, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Liabwene Mtahabwa, Commissioner, Social Welfare, Minister of Health, Community Development, Gender, Elderly, and Children, Dr. Nandela Muhando, the architect of this symposium, Principal of the College of Humanities, Dr. Rose Upo, Director of UNESCO Office in Tanzania, Mr. Tiso dos Santos, Acting Head of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, Dr. Thomas Ndaluka, keynote speakers, Professor Kemak from University at Erfurt in Germany, Professor Thomas Poggi, Lieutenant Professor of Philosophy and International Affairs from the Yale University in the United States, and Dr. Judith Valerian, lecturer at the University, Sokoine University of Agriculture in Tanzania, representatives of UNESCO, our collaborators for this special day, and our generous co-sponsors, the Conrad Aden Steve Tung. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, as Vice Chancellor of this university, the oldest university here in Tanzania, I'm so grateful to you all for accepting my invitation to join in today's special celebration of philosophy as an academic discipline in our family of knowledge produce. This symposium has brought together African academics, students, researchers, renowned business leaders from the private sector, and the representatives of the government of the United Republic of Tanzania. Now we are honored to be hosting you all in an interesting and thought-provoking day. Indeed, the theme of this symposium that reaches to the center and the foundation of our sociological and political concerns will enrich us and our policy-making process in the future. Philosophical investigations provide us with the new ideas that can shape government policy, change attitudes, and move the country closer to our shared goals. By penetrating to the foundations of the issues at stake, philosophical discussion takes us beyond the standard rhetoric and postures that generally dominate public discourse. Through this World Philosophy Day, UNESCO reinforces the importance of universalizing engagement in systematic reasoning and critical deliberation as fundamental human enterprise for future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, our invited keynote speakers have kindly agreed to join us in honoring with us the wise words of our first leader and President Julius Kambarage Nyerere, after whom this campus is named. In his book, Uhuru na Maendeleo, of Freedom and Development, which was published in 1973, Mwalimu Nyerere reflected on the nature of freedom and development, and he said the following: intellectuals have a special contribution to make to the development of our nation and to Africa, and I'm asking that their knowledge and the great understanding that they should possess should be used for the benefit of the society of which we are all members, end of quote. I'm pleased to be part of this celebration, a tradition of the United Nations Council for Education, Science, and Culture. I want to thank the leaders of UNESCO in Tanzania, university administration in general, the College of Humanities, and our partners collaborating with us from the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung in Tanzania, the Brewery publishers in Leiden, the Netherlands, and the department administrators for making it possible for us to celebrate this important rite or passage in the life of nations. We're equally grateful for Konrad Adenauer Stiftung's initiation of a scholarship scheme so that the best of our intellectually gifted, socially and politically committed candidates can pursue their master degree in ethics of governance and public service despite the financial hardships. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speakers will be joining us both in person and through the technology to allow virtual participation from a long distance and through several time zones. I wish to thank Professor Podge at Yale University, whose work on global justice over the last 30 years is hard to ignore. We are fortunate as well to be able to live stream in from Harvard University. The famous moral philosopher, Professor Michael Sando, has kindly arranged his time to create the space for philosophical debate. His course on good governance is persistently oversubscribed. We are also proud to have with us the distinguished theologian from Erfurt in Germany, Professor Eke Mark, whose views of the importance of religious beliefs and practice in developing a culture treasures social justice. With specific reference to the concerns of the country to develop gender equity as a key factor of economic justice in Africa, we are fortunate that the economist Dr. Judith Valerian has kindly agreed to join us from Sokoine University of Agriculture. And even before these guests take the podium, we will be able to hear from our own faculty member, Dr. Philibert Kom, who has recently returned home to us after winning the admiration of the prestigious Faculty of Philosophy at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. Dr. Kom defended his dissertation in September and was awarded top marks with no corrections, an achievement which has never happened before in the history of that particular program. Asante sana kwa kutuwakilisha vizuri. We will hear also from Dr. Josephat Muhoza, who will share with us the importance of philosophy in Tanzanian intellectual formation giving a brief appraisal of the now introduced program in the primary school curriculum, namely Civic and Ethical Studies. The program is a result of the effort of the Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies of the University of Salaam. And ladies and gentlemen, as I wind up my speech, I just want to thank you all again for attending. I'm proud to see all of you here at the University of Salaam. Welcome, and may the ideas and the policy recommendations flow and continue to flow. Thank you for listening. Before I return to take my seat, kindly allow me to invite the guest of honor, Dr. Liabwene Mtahabwa.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Wanangisye, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor David Mfinanga, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor Benedetta Kilian, Commissioner, Social Welfare, Ministry of Health, Community Development, Gender, Elderly and Children, Dr. Nandera Muhando, Director of UNESCO Office in Tanzania, Mr. Tris Dos Santos, Principal of the College of Humanities, University of Dar es Salaam, Dr. Rose Paul, members of the academic community and the administrative staff of the University of Dar es Salaam, students of the University of Dar es Salaam, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Na wasalimu kwa jina la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Before I read my speech, a light touch first. I'm standing before you while internally trembling because I'm standing in front of a teacher who raised me from nowhere to somewhere, Professor William Anangisye. He will always remain my role model until I cross the equator. He taught me in my undergraduate studies, my second degree and third degree, and has continued mentoring me. So the way I talk, the way I appear, is actually a result of Professor William Wanangisye. Thank you very much, Professor William Wanangisye, for working tirelessly to ensure that you raised me to this level. God bless you. It gives me great pleasure to be present in the academic community of the University of Dar es Salaam as a guest of honor for this year's celebration of UN World Philosophy Day. I want to thank the University Administration in general, the College of Humanities, and the department administrators in particular, not only for extending the invitation for me to join you here today in celebrating this important event, but also for granting me an opportunity to be part of this extremely interesting and challenging conversation about philosophy in Tanzania today. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to say a few words about philosophy as we teach and practice it at the University of Dar es Salaam. It gives me immense pleasure to note with a sense of pride that in our country, academic philosophy is not guilty of remaining an abstract discipline conducted within an ivory tower, divorced from the problems facing our communities. The Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies in the College of Humanities at the University of Dar es Salaam, from its inception in 2012, continues to grapple with the theme of this conference, that is, philosophy in Tanzania, reaching to the core of political and socio-economic concerns. With this focus, the pursuit of philosophy as a profession is in consonance with the overall goals of education in our country. Philosophy has a role to play in Tanzania's need to create policy and measures to protect the nation's health. COVID-19 is a current threat, but so is malaria, malnutrition, and other communicable diseases that result in our high rates of premature mortality. Your conference theme suggests that you are determined to use your philosophical knowledge and wisdom to address and tackle the essence of our people's social, political, and economic tribulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am aware of the huge strides and struggles that the country has seen over the last 60 years towards attaining the World Bank classification of a lower middle income country in 2020. This was in itself a milestone in the life of our nation. But in no way did this change of status signify the end of poverty. Rather, it was a declaration of our country's resolve to work harder and not to be satisfied with what we have achieved over these years. The struggle for poverty alleviation and its eventual eradication in our country still continues in earnest. The truth is that we cannot function properly as a society without adherence to moral and ethical principles. This is where academic training in philosophy can make its singular and unique contribution to our development as a nation in ways that other disciplines and higher degrees profession cannot. It is philosophers' disciplinary background that carries the legacy of theoretical principles and models to show the way forward through these difficult waters. Philosophy, as a value-transforming discipline, encompasses a scholarly literature which contains centuries of experience, which not only addresses individual struggles to understand God and the meaning of life. Philosophy also addresses in great depth the relation between one individual and another, the relation between individuals and the groups to which they belong, and also the complex relations between governments and their citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, let me use a little of my knowledge to tell you the way I consider philosophers to be and their roles in contemporary societies. Based on the texts that I have read from prominent philosophers in the world, works by Confucius, Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, I tend to see philosophers as prophets. They are able to see what others cannot easily see at the moment. And once they see it, they present it in ways that does not easily harm or cause anger to a reader or to a listener. They are endowed, philosophers are endowed with the talent to choose words in ways that every reader, every listener will be impressed to read their texts. I see philosophers as people endowed with unspeakable wisdom. I see philosophers as doctors who can diagnose a person and discover disease and prescribe medicine that will eventually heal that particular person. I see philosophers as working quite in harmony and closely with the religious leaders, and that's why the department is called Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies. They are working closely with the religious people to ensure that they maintain tranquility, they maintain social cohesion, they maintain peace and unity. They eradicate hatred. What I tend to see in philosophers is that as they perform their duties, they need to be bold. They need to have daring spirit. They need to be bold enough to speak out what they believe should be in their communities today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. They should be bold enough to speak that. But they do that in ways that do not necessarily make the listeners and the readers angry. That is my understanding of philosophers as a lay person. To be sincere, I very much bank on philosophers. I very much bank on philosophers' contributions to make us move ahead as a nation. When I see a text written by a philosopher, I always read it from the beginning to the end. I never stop. Philosophers must be magnetic. They must be magnetic. Philosophy has a critical role to play in the government's effort to protect private freedoms as well as public health, managing the domestic economy while encouraging foreign entrepreneurial endeavors, respecting personal expression of beliefs and priorities while protecting the peace and stability of the nation and the region, as I have just said. With respect to helping citizens to understand what is involved for them personally to participate in a strong and effective democracy, this university's Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies is home to the master's degree program that continues to support the United Republic of Tanzania in its defense of integrity in government and its fight against corruption in the public service sector. This department is the locus of the ideas and implementation capacity and the legacy of teaching civic skills for democracy to Tanzanians all over the country. It was the philosophical power of University of Salaam that brought into reality the installation of programs and laws fighting corruption over the last 2 decades. I hope these concerns will continue to be addressed in today's proceedings. It should be possible, for example, with a philosophical background of experience and expertise, to reach the people at the grassroots and other such groups throughout our country the ideals of respect for basic human rights, social inclusion, the rights of laborers to dignified work, as well as gainful employment, as well as the notion of gender equality. Philosophical work is also the foundation of the themes upon which the United Nations has created international policies that seek to guide governments in the care and respect of their citizens' freedoms, as well as their physical health and safety, their fundamental rights, and their dignity as persons. It is through doing this that you will be reaching the core of our social, political, and economic problems. Reaching the core of our political and social, economic concerns requires wisdom and boldness, courage. Tell the truth boldly in ways that do not necessarily annoy the listener or the reader. I'll keep on saying that. I know this hope to be rooted in the fertile soil among philosophers, since it is from philosophers that we learn how to deepen our understanding of the world around us and our disagreements with each other by examining reality from different standpoints. We learn from the philosophers that there is value in embracing goals that conflict with each other and in finding the way forward given various contrary priorities among different groups in your population. So it is a philosophical approach that can direct the process of regional integration and guide us in seeking lasting solutions to land-based conflicts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to remember that the moral argument eventually won the day and made it possible for us to become independent. They include those we learn from philosophers, including our first president, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. He was teaching in a philosophical posture when he demonstrated the contrast between empirical facts and normative values. It is a philosophical exercise to spell out what we agree upon as the plain things in front of us about the way things are, and our contrasting visions of the way forward, the way things ought to be. Thus, philosophy provides us with the intellectual tools to determine the moral arguments that have the power to transform society. Philosophers as active transforming agents have a role, a very, very key role to transform our societies. Generally, moral arguments are more powerful than guns and the nuclear bombs combined. Let me repeat that statement. Generally, moral arguments are more powerful than guns and the nuclear bombs combined. I say this because our march to sustainable development involves many battles that have to be won, but these are battles of conscience, moral battles in the fight against gender inequality and against environmental degradation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that today the philosophers will help us to recognize the points of agreement and disagreement that constitute the struggle concerning the rights and the dignity of people marginalized by the tensions we all face one way or another every day as we each look after our own survival. Although this struggle has a long history in our country, the recognition and acceptance of women's struggle for liberation is a recent development. Philosophy equips us with coming to terms with meaning of gender equality, first by understanding what equality means as a value to uphold in the face of empirically obvious differences. Another important area that I hope you will address today is our concern about the protection of our natural environment. Again, to succeed in this endeavor, the moral argument is essential. I understand that the Department of Philosophy is the home of training about environmental ethics. I hope this expertise will inform deliberations today to address in the simplest possible way the new trends in global discussions of responsibility for respecting our dependency on the natural world on which we depend existentially, and our strong commitment to impacting our environment through responsible industrialization. In your deliberations, you must remember that your conclusions have a bearing on this country's social and political transformation only insofar as you reach the ordinary people who struggle every day with the core of our social, political, and economic conundrums. Ladies and gentlemen, my task was to open the conference. I have taken time to share with you some, not all, of my thoughts about the theme of your conference. Now, it is my singular honor to declare the 2021 World Philosophy Day Conference at the University of Dar es Salaam officially opened. Thank you very much for attentive listening. Nawashukuruni sana.
Thank you very much for that bold and insightful speech. You not only opened the conference, but you have taught us quite a lot. You have informed us what philosophers should be, but I would also extend that to everybody who in this room, to be bold, to speak the truth, but in a manner that does not anger the reader. I think that's very, very important for the University of Dar es Salaam and for all individuals who are here. Thank you for that. We will try to speak the truth and be bold and not anger. At this particular moment, we have got into almost our last session, which is taking pictures with the high table. Please, Isdori and the photographer, we will have 7 pictures that will be taken. The first picture will be of the high table. The second picture will be of the high table and the key speakers who are here. The third will have the high table and the sponsors if they're here. The fourth pictures will be the government official and the diplomatic corps together. The fifth picture is of the dean, principals, and directors and heads of departments. And then we will have a picture with the secondary school, and our last picture would be of the organizing committee. So as we prepare, University Choir, could you kindly take us through this? So the first picture is of the high table, please. And we will try to go fast. And then after this, we will all go for breakfast, so please don't leave. Okay, I think keynote speakers, please could you come up to the stage? After the keynote speakers, we'll have the government official with the diplomatic corps. Thank you very much. Government officials and the diplomatic corps. And the Thank you. Dean, principals, directors, and heads of departments of the University of Dar es Salaam. Students from St. Anthony. Students from St. Anthony, please. Secondary school students. outside. So key speakers, government officials, principals, deans, and directors and heads of department will go through this door, and there's tea right over there. Others, please, let's go through this door, and there's tea over there. Thank you very much, but let's remember, after tea, there's a session that will continue, so let's try to come back and listen to our key speakers. Karibuni sana, and enjoy your tea, but please make sure you're back here. Thank you. We shall start the second session at 10:40. So you have half an hour for tea. Half an hour for tea. Wapendwa, wapendwa tuliobaki wote, naomba tuende mlango huu, kuna chai hapo. Professor Mascarena, please go through that door. Yeah. Naomba tuende mlango huu. Mbona hatutaki chai? Tunasubiria presentation ya key speakers wa kwanza.